Bo, why did we meet so late in life? Yet I am definitely your best friend.
I can't answer the former. The latter is certainly true. It's been wonderful knowing you. Um, and with that, I'd like to make my way out.
The tone of it sounded like I was dying. It has been nice knowing you.
It was a good ride while it
Was
lasted.
the host of that.
Yeah,
show.
it's interesting. You meet those people in your life, and you just kind of hit it off. It works, and you get along, and it feels like it's been a thing forever. That's how it feels with you, and I appreciate that. Thank you for this relationship.
I didn't like you the first time I met you.
I can believe that.
Do you know why?
Nope.
I've told you this before. Apparently not. I thought you were a big, loud jock that, insecurity-wise, was going to take spotlight away from me.
Well, how'd you really feel? Fast forward. What did you then learn? Like, was that an accurate assessment from the jump?
You're not that big.
But the dumb part, Jack. Love the spotlight though.
It was a growth on all fronts, and here's the biggest one. You deserve more. The spotlight is really the only thing that changed. And I dropped the dumb. You're still a jock. You are big, but you're not dumb.
Okay.
And you do deserve more spotlight. Everything was close to fact. I was 50-50.
I need to put that in my bio. Am big,
Yeah.
kind of jock, not dumb, and just let that be the whole byline.
Well, you've had worse.
Much worse.
Yeah. We've known each other 6 years now.
A while, a good long while.
A good while. I think when we met, you guys had 8 employees.
Mm-hmm. It was a small crew then.
Yeah, and I think you were doing about $3 million in revenue that year. Ballpark.
Maybe a little bit less, 2 to 3, somewhere in that probably
Yep.
range.
You're right, because we were going to do 2, and I think that you were doing 2,
Maybe
2.5.
just crossed over. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yep. What will you most likely do this year?
A little over 10 probably is the guess. We don't know that for sure. It depends on the market, but that's what our hope is. This will be hopefully we'll cross over $1 billion in assets this year is our goal.
I don't know a lot about money. That sounds like a big deal.
It's cool. In our space, once you have $100 million of assets, you're considered a larger firm. So billion kind of puts you that larger
A jock
firm.
firm.
A jock firm.
A jock
That's
firm,
right.
if you will.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hitting $1 billion is a pretty neat mark. So we've been excited. The show's been growing, firm's been growing. So that's a cool thing to get to do. We're ready to cross that so that we can just move to the next. Like once we do the first billion, then we want to get to 2, 5, and then our goal is to be a $10 billion firm. That's what we would like to grow to.
10 billion.
10 billion with a B. I just think somebody has to do it. Why, might as well be us.
10 billion assets under management. What is that firm worth?
I don't know. It's hard because valuations at that level get a little unique. And there's a bunch, some people do multiples of revenue, multiples of profit. I don't know. One of the things that my business partner and I talk about is, do we really care about terminal value? Are we trying to build a business that we can sell, or are we trying to build a really fun business that's cool to build? And we kind of are thinking more about this whole, I think it's Simon Sinek who has like the infinite business idea, right? A business that sort of lasts forever. So we're kind of playing with that idea. So what is it worth? I don't know. Can we do really meaningful work and impact a lot of people's lives from here to there? That's really what we're trying to clue in on.
What are your superpowers?
Superpowers. I think one of the things that I've been able to do well historically, and I hope that people view this as a power, is take complicated things and make them, be able to take them in, discern them, and make them a little bit easier to understand. So in terms of communication, figure out, okay, I can take this very complicated thing and explain it to you who may not have the same background or same whatever exposure experience, but explain it in a way that's helpful. And I find that not only in work life, but in all facets of life, in relationships and community, having the ability to do that and break down complex problems into easy to understand logic-based solutions tends to be a valuable skill set. So I don't know if that's a superpower, but it's something that I try to do, and I feel like it's probably served me well.
I was going to say you are good with both money and people.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
Which one are you better at?
I hope I'm better at people. Money might be a little bit easier, right? Decisions around money are not incredibly complicated. They're not super difficult to walk through. People are emotional and illogical and all these sorts of things. So money's probably easier, but I'd like to be better at the people than the money part. And what I found is often, at least in our world, if you can be good with people, money kind of tends to follow. So it's not difficult to be good at both if you can be good at the people part first.
Right now, on the people part, what are you bad at?
I'm really good at initial superficial relationships, right? But like once it goes past that, gets in like the deep, intimate stuff, I'm not like a super touchy-feely guy. So I can be compassionate and can be empathetic, but it's not my natural bent, right? Like I'm much better like the fun, everything's good, high-level stuff. I could probably be a little more, down in the weeds with people. I mean, my wife, sometimes she just wants to talk, right? A lot, right? Which is great. I think that's awesome. And sometimes what I interpret her talking is she's saying to me, honey, solve my problems. She most certainly is not saying, honey, solve my problems. She just wants to talk. And so if I were a better husband, I would just listen and not try to immediately jump into problem solving. So I'd like to be better at that, better at recognizing what, in an interpersonal relationship, what the situation needs, not what I think will get it to a different outcome.
How often is she familiar with the concept of Gestalt, and how often does she ask you to respect that at home?
She is not familiar with Gestalt, and she does not ever ask me to respect it. She just kind of implies that. When I say, hey, you know what you ought to do? She goes, wait. And she just says, hey, I don't want a solution. I'm not, just let me talk. And she's not that calm about it. She's much more frustrated because I've been much more, upsetting than that. She just wants me to listen. She wants me to be able to, she's a verbal processor, wants to get it out. I am not. If I'm going to say something, it's going to be like action oriented towards a solution. I don't want to talk. That's why I've never done therapy, which I think is amazing, counseling, that sort of thing. It's awesome. I don't enjoy that setting. So it's difficult. My wife wants to have like a conversation like that to do that well.
If you don't want to talk, how is it that every Tuesday you record 3 hours worth of content of you talking?
Yeah, that's great. I don't like talking about like the soft, mushy, tough stuff, right?
Okay.
Like if we're talking about finance or talking about decision making or talking about optimization, that kind of stuff, absolutely, more than happy to like gab on that. It's like or talking for the sake of talking without arriving at a solution. So when we talk on our show, we're trying to educate our folks about, hey, this is how you make better decisions with money. This is how you build towards wealth. Here's how you make your wealth last. Here's how you fill in the blank. A lot of times with my wife, she's not in the solutions business. She just wants to be in the verbal processing business. And so I should just listen. So that's on me when I don't want to talk. Or when she's like, she'll ask me all the time, hey, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, I'm fine. And even if something's wrong, I just don't want to talk about it. I just want to like kind of think on it, meditate on it, kind of go over my head, and then move on with the solution.
So there are a lot of people that know of you from the show, from Abound Wealth, from just being a loud big guy.
Big dumb job.
Your words, not
My
mine.
words.
Your words, not mine. How many? What percentage of those people do you think know the Bo backstory?
Probably very few. I mean, people close to me, close friends, close colleagues, but most audience members probably don't know it, and even like tangential, sort of surface level friends probably don't know it because it's not something that comes up in conversation a ton.
As someone that doesn't enjoy talking about the soft, mushy, emotional sides, you're telling me that not a lot of people have that context.
You see, right, how that kind of makes sense?
I'd love to get into that context.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about that. That sounds awesome. Let's dive in deep there.
I do, and I am going to press you on that, mainly because I tell anecdotes from your life quite a bit, and this is at least one opportunity for me to fact check myself or others to go, Colton didn't just make that up.
Okay.
That's a pretty damn good story.
I like it.
So, in the context I normally like to give, because people have seen you, it's not hard to Google you and then find out. And a partner in a business, so one of two partners in a business that has $1 billion of assets under management.
That's right.
A very successful podcast, YouTube series, content series with over probably how many impressions a month?
Impressions is probably a couple million a month. Podcast gets downloaded, about 1 million times a month. YouTube gets watched 1.5, 2 million times a month. So it's So impressions is a harder metric to measure, but there's a lot of folks out there that think the content's good and get value out of it. So check in with it.
How many minutes ballpark do you think people have watched of your content since inception?
Ooh, a lot. I want to say like last year, we had something like 40, 50 million minutes consumed or something like that in the calendar year last year. So I don't know. So we've been podcasting since 2006. So we were one of the really early podcasts on there. So there's just a lot of content out there. There's a lot out there that have been consumed. So it's a decent amount, I would say.
So on the Money Guy show last year, roughly 40 to 50 million minutes of content consumed. Mm-hmm. You're one of two partners in a wealth management business with $1 billion in assets under management and a gorgeous wife with two gorgeous daughters and one fresh baby boy.
Hey, brand new baby
brand
boy.
New.
Basically drove here from the delivery room.
One of the newest models.
One of the newest models. It's the latest. It's the latest edition.
Have you seen the 2023 Hanson
It's
model?
pretty stellar. Pretty stellar.
I'm a big fan.
Birthday 2323. How cool is that?
As a math numbers money guy, at least you gotta like that.
My anniversary 6/9/12, right? Like I just like these mathematical things that I can remember.
Are you in a cult?
I'm not, but I like math.
You're NEO.
I guess technically I am.
Okay, cool. So all of these facts about someone that I think when I heard your story for the first time, I thought this is one of the most fascinating stories of point A to point B. And so, if you don't care, do you care to recount to me at least a way that you like to tell your childhood?
Yeah, sure. So by all accounts, I should not be where I am today. I feel like I'm incredibly blessed to do that because my childhood was a little unique. When I was born, I thought that life was normal. I had a normal family. I had an older brother. I had a mom, a dad. We lived what seemed like a relatively normal lifestyle, middle-class America. We had a nice house, and we had a swimming pool, and we had cars, new cars, went on vacations. We did these sorts of things. And then things started to change. Things started to deteriorate a little bit. And what I did not know at the time when I was a child is that both of my parents were drug addicts. So I grew up in a household where they were addicted to drugs way before I came on the scene. Were addicted to drugs while I was on the scene, and then thereafter. And so while my childhood was fairly normal up until, I don't know, like age 5 or 6, some things started happening. Someone came and took our car away, and I thought that was unique, but I was too young to process that. And then all of a sudden we couldn't live in our house anymore, and so they took our house away. So we had to move into a townhome on the side of town where I'm from, where you did not want to be on. It was not like the safest part of town. And then someone came and said we couldn't even live there anymore. So when we got evicted out of the townhome, we went to go live in a single-wide trailer with my dad's mother. My mom and dad were having marital issues this time, so it was actually just me and my father that went to go live in the single-wide trailer. And that was okay for a while. Again, I'm a young child. I didn't know a whole lot about it. And then the electricity got turned off on the trailer, and then the running water got turned off on the trailer. And it was just not an amazing place for a young child, 7, 8 years old, to be living. Now, fortunately, my mom's parents lived in town, and they and my parents said, hey, we need to be getting to school, we need him to be bathing, need him to have food. So why doesn't he come live with us? So me and my mom at that time went to go live with my grandparents, but they were in their like 70s, right? My grandma was super sick. She was bedridden for the last 10, 15 years of her life. And so they had this like young preteen kid living with them through like the late elementary, middle school years. And it wasn't great because like most 12 or 13 year olds are awful, right? Or even like 9, 10, 11 year olds, they're awful. But I lived with them for a number of years. But my grandmother's health continued to decline, and it kept like moving in a bad direction. And because my grandfather was taking care of her, so did his, right? So eventually she ends up having to go into hospice care in a hospice facility around town. So my grandpa is literally every morning, he'll take me to school and he'll drive to or I'll ride the bus, but he'll get me off to school, go to the hospice facility, come home. And it's not great. He can't see real well. So like driving at night is not great. And one of the things I remember like very vividly in my childhood is I had a cell phone at the time. I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old, 11 years old. And I went to the movie theater because that's what we did in the town I grew up with. On weekends you go to the movie theater. And I went to the movie theater with some friends, get out, and I go outside and I'm waiting for my grandpa to come pick me up. And I call him on his cell phone. He's lost. No idea where he is. No idea how to find me. So I'm like this 12-year-old kid. And finally he gets there and we're able to navigate home. But that was the first time I recognized, okay, something's not great. Well, at this time, I get to my freshman year of college, and I make friends with this guy who's in class with me. And we go to church together, and we play sports together. And he's like, hey, why don't you come stay at my house one weekend? And so I'm like, okay, great. And staying at friends' house is something all the time, not really a big deal. So we go stay Friday night. I meet his parents that night. I'd never met them before. And we have a good time. We play basketball, whatever. And then they're like, hey, why don't you come stay with us Saturday night, and we'll go to your grandpa's house, get some clothes, and go to church with us Sunday morning. I was like, okay, that sounds great. So the father drives me and my buddy over to my grandpa's house to go get some clothes. Well, me and my buddy go back in my room to get some clothes. And my grandpa is at this age where, have you ever been around people that are elderly and they start talking about stuff that maybe they shouldn't talk about in circumstances they should not talk about them? They just start telling you stuff that you don't really want to know. Well, my grandpa says to this father, who he's never met before, first time interacting with him, he's like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do with this boy. He's 12 years old, 13 years old. His grandma's dying. I'm not in good health. I can't take care of him. I can't get him where he needs to go. All these things. He goes, he has no family. I don't know what to do with him. I'm just going to I guess we're going to have to call the state and turn him over to DFACS, and we can get in the foster system or something like that. Well, immediately, in that moment, on the spot, the father who was talking to said, we'll take him. Right, that easy, that incredible. So we go back home. He had not vetted this with his wife, so he probably went home and spoke with his wife about it. And they already had some other kids of their own. And they said, hey, why don't we go back to your grandpa's house, get some clothes. We will bring you, and we'll just take you to school this week. And my life was so trained to the side. That didn't even seem weird to me. Well, what I didn't realize is that Friday night that I went to stay with them, and I met the parents that night, and then I went to stay Saturday night, I actually never ended up going back to my grandparents' house. Over time, just got enough clothes. They eventually adopted me. They became my parents, and because of that, my entire life trajectory was changed. Because as I was having this happen, both of my parents were continuing to deteriorate. Getting lost in drugs, getting lost in that sort of environment. And then I also have an older brother, a biological brother, who followed in the same footsteps as they did. And so he was in and out of jail since he was 14 years old. Petty crime turned into major crime. And then here I am, this 1/4 of this family that just has this very different circumstance. And so I recognized pretty early on, man, okay, I've got this amazing opportunity that I should not have. This amazing chance to do something that I shouldn't have the chance to do. And this family took me in. And so I lived with that family all through high school. They're the family, when I went to college that I lived with. And even now today, my kids, when they talk about grandma and grandpa, it's that family. They took me in and considered me to be one of their kids. And I think back to that, and I'm like, man, if I had that same opportunity today, if some friend of my kid just randomly came in with all this baggage and all this stuff going on, would I have responded to that situation the same way that they did? That's heavy. I'd like to think that I would, but man, that's it's one of the most poignant examples of faithfulness and selflessness and sacrifice and just loving other human beings that I've ever experienced my whole entire life. Because they had no reason to do it, but they did, and because of that, it changed the entire trajectory of my life.
So this man that in the middle of a conversation with no prior plans had just met you in the last 24 hours.
24 hours.
Have you ever asked that man who, after meeting you within 24 hours, who decided, we're going to adopt this kid, and immediately you move in with that family, and that is your new family and life, an entirely different track. Have you asked that man, your dad, why did you do that?
I've asked him before, and the answer the best answer that he and my mom can give me is, how could we not? How could we not do that? Now, interesting context for them. He's a fireman or a retired fireman. So he's a firefighter. His entire life was precipitated on running into burning buildings, saving human beings, and bringing them out of that. Like, no matter the danger, no matter the baggage, that's what he did. Well, his wife was an emergency room trauma nurse. That no matter the situation, somebody comes in and they're beaten and bloodied and all this stuff, and when you see someone in need, when you see someone's life who needs saving, you don't ask questions, you jump to action, and you do it. And that's what they did with me. It wasn't the traumatic experience that they have vocationally, but they saw that and they didn't even bat an eye, didn't even question it. And they obviously talked to their kids about it, because they had a son who's 2 years older than me, another son who 7 years older than me, and then a daughter who was 6 months younger than me. So these is all like these like teenage kids in this house, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it, because we have to. I mean, not because we have to, but how could we not? And that's the best answer they've ever been able to give me.
Have you ever asked the siblings in this family that you were adopted into how they felt?
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. Obviously, my friend loved it, right? Because we were good buddies, and like this, like, oh, my best friend's gonna come live with me. Awesome. I gotta believe for the younger daughter, it had to be hard. She's 6 months younger than me, and then there's this other person there. But even there too, it's like this newness of a new person, and it was probably more exciting than anything else. But they did ask all the kids, "Are you okay with this? Are you comfortable? Are you okay with this? Are you comfortable?" Because we were, 12, 13, 14 years old at the time. So there's a lot happening in the minds and the all the stuff going on with kids that age. And they were all like, yeah, that's, again, I think because they've seen their parents who grew up being these lifesavers, right? A fireman and a nurse, like, yeah, this is what we do. Someone needs help, we take them in. We're gonna do that. And that's just part of the family culture that existed in that family. It's wild.
So now that you are a business owner that has a business family of 30, 40 or so, and the extension of those families, and your nuclear family has 3 or 4, I'm including Jenna in that, even though she's not. So you are so you have a business family of a business that you own 30, 40 individuals, and then in your nuclear family, right, a gorgeous wife and 3 kids. How have those principles for the things that you learned when you were adopted at 12 overnight, how does that show up in the way that you lead your business and lead your family?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And this is going to sound like a stretch of an answer, but I really think it's true. It's this idea of compounding through time, right? Like, you think about what I've been blessed to be able to do now. I've got this big firm and I have all these employees, and I think about through employment, how many babies have been born, how many houses have been bought, how many cars have been bought, how many marriages have happened, all these things that were possible because of one small little decision that this family made to take a chance on me, right? To take a chance on me. And I think our lives are no different, that the sum total of all the greatest accomplishments that we ever end up having are just these little small decisions that we make every single day. How can I make a small decision that later on might have a big impact? It's the idea behind Atomic Habits, right? Like, I can make these little 1% changes today that can have huge impact. So I even think about that with my employees. Okay, how can I do something how can I interact with them? I don't know how this conversation is going to go. I don't know how this piece of advice will be taken. I don't know how they'll utilize this. But who knows what the impact of that one thing that I can do today can have this massive impact 30, 40 years in the future. And so I try to approach every single day like that. Am I stacking up these small little good decisions, or am I just wasting time or making poor decisions that aren't likely going to compound in a positive way?
You're in your mid-30s. Right now, what are the small decisions that you can look back on and you're already proud of the way that they have already led to greater impact?
Yeah, so a real practical one is just starting to save money. Obviously, what I do for a living is financial stuff. So when I first took my very first investments course and learned about investments, I went and invested. Now, I bought a bunch of individual stocks because I thought I had it figured out, and I was a 17-year-old dummy. Didn't make any money there. But then I learned about a Roth IRA, and I learned about saving, $20 a month, $40 a month, $50 a month. Again, a very small decision to say, instead of consuming today, I'm going to make the small decision. Well, now, since that money's been working for the last 15, 20 years, it starts compounding and it starts getting really, really big. That's an easy, clear example of something that's tangible, in saving. But even in terms of behavioral things, education things that we do. When I first graduated, I graduated college early and I was young. So I graduated college at 20, started managing money and work with clients before I was even old enough to have a drink. And I recognized, I'm young, getting into an industry that's really designed and built for folks with gray hair. Folks with gray hair have been doing this for a long time, so I got to do something to stand out, something to make myself different. So I told myself early on in my career, if I can't make myself age faster, I can at least work on educating myself. So I went and pursued the CFP designation, which I think is like sort of a requisite for what I do. And then I went and got the CFA designation, which again is just an investments heavy designation, as a means and a mechanism to set me up to be able to do something later in life. Well, that small decision to just start taking this one test has now put me in a position where I get to speak in authority when I have, to do a show where people say, okay, why should I listen to this guy? Oh, well, I should listen to him because he's credentialed, he's got this education, and he's been running this firm and doing this and helping people make good financial decisions. So I think that's like, educating myself early on, not knowing what it would lead to would be one of those like small little decisions. Health is another really, really easy one because it's something super important to me. Just making the decision on a weekly basis, I'm going to exercise more days this week. I'm going to make sure that I do exercise more days than I don't exercise. And if I can do that consistently over 50 years, I'll probably be decently healthy, right? I'm going to try to eat better, it's little small decisions like that that can add up in a big way over the long term.
I really like that, especially I like that you framed it in compounding things. Mm-hmm. It was like small, smart decisions that compound.
Yep.
And we have a friend that's a doctor that references the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
My game plan is just make really small, smart decisions.
Small, smart decisions.
That steamroll into better things.
Yep.
That it sounds like give you access to more and more opportunity down the road.
That's exactly right.
You said something, you said, hey, when I was 17, I thought I'd figured it out, so I picked stocks, individual stocks,
right.
And of course I didn't make money.
Yep.
What do you think right now are common things that you either see your employees or anyone younger than you that they think you can tell, you think you figured something out, but you don't know that you're making a bad decision?
Yeah, technology has made the world really, really interesting right now. Now I'm going to sound like an old dude. I'm not an old dude here, right? But this is going to make me sound like old and like lame. But technology's made it great where there's all these new things coming out and all this exciting stuff that people want to jump on. Oh, I want to start doing cryptocurrencies, or I want to start figuring out how to invest in artificial intelligence, or I want to figure out how to fill in the blank on the next thing that's going to come along. Where really, like when it comes to like building wealth and making financial decisions, it's incredibly simple, but it's not easy. Like it's incredibly simple to go just buy a low-cost index fund and start at $20 a month, $40 a month, $50 a month. And if you can just do that, not have to go figure out what stock to buy, not have to go figure out what strategy to employ, just do that consistently over time, it's amazing how it will stack up, but you got to sit there and let it do that. And it's not sexy, right? You can save for the first 5 years of your career and be like, man, it's not really done anything. But when you look back 15 years in the future, that money that you saved, that very first dollar that you saved 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is some of the most powerful money you have in your army of dollar bills, even though it took a while for it to manifest. So I see a lot of young people thinking, oh, I've got all the time in the world. I don't need to do my 401k. I don't need to do my HSA. I don't need to save. I'll do that later. I don't make enough money. I only make 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever the number is. I can't save. And if they would just start making, again, a little small decision now, their 30, 40, 50, 6-year-old self will for sure thank them for doing that. And it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
I'm going to follow up with that question. What are the non-monetary decisions in a category of, I think I've figured this out, but you could look over their shoulder and go, you're secretly making a bad decision?
Yeah, one that we've talked about a lot at the firm. Malcolm Gladwell has this idea around 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything, right? So we think about, okay, if I want to be an expert in this field, I got to do it for 10,000 hours to gain expert status. I think a lot of people, a lot of young people think about the activity of going out and pursuing that 10,000. Like, okay, what's the thing I'm going to spend 10,000 hours on? Not recognizing that early on in our lives, we're going to spend 10,000 hours doing something. Right. So even if it's not that thing you have to pursue, what are you spending your time doing? Are you going out to bars? Are you spending a lot of time in the nightlife? Are you playing video games? Are you doing these other things? And while there might be not anything wrong with that, are the things that you're spending your time doing, especially early on when what matters is the experience that you're building, are you spending time doing things that will actually matter later on? Or are you just kind of wasting time? And I see far too many people in their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, who are just kind of like, all right, clock in, clock out, what am I doing this weekend? Clock in, clock out, what am I doing this weekend? And that's fine, and there's a place for that, But when you finally wake up and say, holy cow, I need to actually start working towards building expertise, whether it be teaching myself a new skill or doing something vocationally or learning a new language or whatever that is, the earlier I can start actually putting some dedicated time towards that, the sooner I'll become an expert in that thing and then be able to move on to the next opportunity, whatever that opportunity is.
What are you chipping away at your 10,000 hours on these days?
Parenting. Right, so I've got 3 kids, 7, 5, and then a brand new baby boy that was just born. But like even though I've been a parent for over 10,000 hours now, right? When you think about mathematically, I've only had a 7-year-old for the last 1 year. So right now I am trying to put in that time. How do I deal with a 7-year-old? How do I be a parent to a 5-year-old? How do I be a parent to a newborn? And putting in that time, figuring out how to do things really, really well. What are the things I screwed up on the older one that I can not screw up on the younger one? How do I love and serve my family well? And frankly, life is just so much busier now than it used to be, right? Like when my wife and I had our first kid, business wasn't as big, I wasn't as busy, didn't have as much stuff going on. Now it's like balancing employees and community and family. I'm spending 10,000 hours right now just figuring out how to be really great or trying to be great at a lot of different things. So I'd say that's some of the stuff that I'm chipping away at presently. Leadership at the firm, now that we're moving further and further away from like day-to-day tasks and activities and pulling back and actually trying to lead people that are doing that. I'm still developing my skill set, 10,000 hours of trying to lead people below me, trying to lead the people around me. I think those are the things I'm chipping away at right now.
What was the year that you guys, what was the year that you guys had formed Abound Wealth with you as a partner?
2017 is the year that we started that.
In 2017, the day that you signed the operating agreement, what do you wish you could go back and tell yourself?
This is going to work out, right? This is going to work out. I think I had a lot of. I think most people, and I am the same way. I was thinking of, okay, I'm becoming a partner here, and this is where I want us to go. And I think that most of us think about goals or life or things we want to accomplish in sort of a linear fashion, when in reality, I think most things move exponentially. I was listening to a really great interview recently, and this guy was talking about, he has this this exercise that he does where he does goal setting. And he's like, okay, this is where I want to be when I'm 75 years old. And then he steps back and says, okay, if I want to be there when I'm 75, where do I need to be when I'm 50 to get to that place at 75? Okay, if I want to be there at 50, where do I need to be at 25? And then you break it down to where do I want to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And I think that's great. But I think we as humans have a flawed mindset that we think that life moves linearly that way. Okay, if I want to be here, but things actually, for most folks, tend to move exponentially. So once you start getting momentum around the decisions you're making and the things you're trying to have happen, it just moves a lot more rapidly. People, in the same interview, the guy was talking about like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was this great guy who did this. A lot of people don't realize Warren Buffett did not become a billionaire until he was 57 years old. So he spent the first 57 years of his life getting to $1 billion. And then from age 57 to 90, that's when he went to like 100 billion, right? It was this exponential movement that happened. And that's a mathematical, financial example. I think even in the accomplishments that we have, when we have career success, like, okay, if I want to get this job title, well, then I got to get this one, then I got this one. I think that we can accomplish a lot more. I think we can accomplish a lot more in the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years than we think. And a lot of goal setting doesn't reflect that. I think we set our sights way too low. Most folks set their sights way too low.
I want to say it came up in forum one time. I want to say it came up one time when we were in one of the groups that we hang out with. What's the quote? Somebody said, everyone overestimates how much they can do in a month, but you underestimate what you can do in a year.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
When did you learn that lesson?
I mean, honestly, I'm still learning it. But I think it's something that, as I've seen a lot of, specifically in our business, a lot of growth with the firm. As we did grow linearly for a while, and now we're growing exponentially. It's starting to click for me. It's like, oh, I see it. Like, we knew 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we were making those decisions that this could happen. But man, when it happened, it was this tipping point. It was this thing that, like, with our audience, as it got bigger, it got real big, and then it got real big. And so I think it's something that we're constantly and continually figuring out, and we're trying not to throttle ourselves. I told myself if I could just make this income at this age, I will have made it. And then you get to that age and you get that income, and then you just move the goalpost, and you move the goalpost, and you move the goalpost, and you move the goalpost. What I'm starting to really recognize is that this whole achievement, whether it be professional achievement or financial achievement, it's less about the end goal and it's more about the journey to get there. And so what I'm trying to do is just really enjoy. A lot of people ask, when will you be satisfied? What's the time when you'll recognize satisfaction? So, okay, when I achieve this, or when I do this, or when I've had this accomplishment, I'm trying to figure out, even though I want all those things, how can I be satisfied all along the path? How can I be content in, I want to, have a business valued at this one day, but I'm not going to wait until there to be satisfied. I'm going to recognize that the journey from here to there is part of the satisfaction, and maybe an even bigger part of the satisfaction than getting to the end result, getting to the ultimate end goal.
I didn't know you were such a stoic.
Is that stoicism?
There's a really strong stoic concept in there.
Did not know that.
So I can't remember if it's Seneca or who, but he talks about the archer, and he says the goal of the archer is actually not to hit the target. The goal of the archer is to be the best archer he can be.
I love that.
Which means that all he's responsible for is what he does, how he trains, how he pulls back, and the moment he releases the arrow, he's not responsible.
Yeah.
Whether something hits the target, the wind moves, he can't control any of that. So what he should do is just focus on all the things under his control and be really happy the moment he lets go.
Yep.
And that's all you can do. And I heard you just say that same thing.
It's this idea of goal setting. My goal is not to get to this place. My goal is to be the person that can get to that place in the most efficient, effective manner possible. Did I just become stoic?
I think you did. You're the first big, not so dumb jock that's converted to being a stoic in the middle of an interview.
In the middle of an interview on the spot.
I think you're the happiest person I know.
Really? I love it.
Bo, what is your favorite suburban chain restaurant?
I don't know about my favorite. I'll tell you the place I eat the most. My office is in downtown Franklin, and there's a little Mediterranean place right down the street called Tzatziki's. I eat it I don't know if Tzatziki's is a big chain or not. I eat it every single day for lunch. Not because I necessarily love it all that much, but I think it's moderately healthy. It's super convenient. They have an online ordering thing that makes it really efficient. So I eat Tzatziki's every single day. I don't know if that's the answer to your question you're looking for, but that's where my mind is.
Did you give that answer because the owner of Tzatziki's?
Nope, completely unrelated.
Unrelated to the fact that he was just interviewed in this same room.
It just so happens that I eat Tzatziki's every single day for lunch.
And it's delicious. They have online ordering, and they have a great business model that you respect. Wink.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of we call that a little happy accident, little Bob Ross.
You and Bob Ross, honestly, two peas in a pod.
I feel like he big dumb jock.
Big dumb Afro jock. Yeah, that's it. Bo, what is a great question that I've not asked you?
What is a great question that you have not asked? I don't know. You're asking some really good ones. You asked one about, when you signed the partnership agreement, what was the one thing that you would have changed, or what's the one thing you wish you had told yourself? I'm surprised you didn't go further back and say, hey, if you could go back to the beginning, whenever you got adopted or whenever, what's the one thing, what would you have told your younger self? What's the advice you would have given your younger self that you wish you would have known then that you now know now?
Lay it on me.
Oh no, I'm not going to answer. You should have asked that question.
That's your penalty.
I'm not giving you that one.
Oh man,
I'm not giving you that one.
I was enthralled in the story. I didn't want
to. I am someone who is very achievement oriented, right? So played baseball through high school. I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. Went to college, didn't end up working out. And so, I constantly I want to achieve. I want to be a high achiever. I want to accomplish all these things. And so because of that, I do a very poor job of slowing down to enjoy. I did the same thing all throughout my 20s. I spent a lot of time working, a lot of time progressing, and life has turned out okay. Now, I think a lot of the reasons why life has turned out okay is because I put in that hard work early on, and I don't even know that I would change the hard work that I put in, but I'd say, hey, don't stress out so much about it. Don't have so much fear that things aren't going to work out. Just put in the hard work, and if they work out, it's great. And if they don't, all right, wherever you land will be okay. Because I spent a lot of time worrying about the outcome where I probably didn't need to. Now, that's a survivorship bias thing. It's real easy to be on this side saying, oh, I shouldn't have worried about it. But I think I would try to tell my younger self that.
You have no idea how much in this interview you turned into a stoic and then immediately started spouting philosophy just consistently. Epictetus would be so proud of you.
Never met him.
He's dead, you know?
Oh, okay. Never read him.
You're supposed to go, I didn't even know he was sick.
I didn't even...
It's okay. It's a Norm joke, and this is all I'm trying to do. So, man, all right. So you just answered the question you said I should have asked you that applied to you when you were what, starting at 12, 17, 25?
Yeah, maybe even because so again, I had such a turbulent childhood. The only two things that were constant in my life, in my childhood, were baseball. I was blessed that I was pretty good at it, and I really enjoyed it, and it was a pastime I pursued, and I did a lot of it. And my grandfather, like those two things, were the only thing that were solid. When my grandfather passed away, and my baseball thing kind of like folded up, and I was like, man, these two anchors, these two tenets that were like the only foundations of my life are gone. What am I gonna do with that? And I think that's where a lot of the anxiety and stress of, okay, well now I gotta go chase achievement to fill the void that those left. And I think as I've gotten older and matured through that, I don't have to like rest on that as much.
Bo, everybody, if they choose to, gets to bring something memento. Bo?
Memento? I didn't bring a memento thing.
This is going to be tough. And you're going to make it even harder. I got it. Bo, every guest gets to bring something sentimental or personal to them. As an incredibly sentimental guy, I see something over your shoulder that I believe is your object. Do you want to grab it and tell me about it?
Yeah, I would. Do you want me to get up and get it?
Right now.
Is that a thing? Should I?
This is my prompt.
I'm gonna grab that. Okay. Should I give it to you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Don't open it.
I didn't.
Do you know what it is? Do you want to tell people what it is?
I believe that this is a Hot Wheels model of the Tesla Cybertruck.
That's a great question, Colton. What is it I love about the Cybertruck? Let me tell you. Are you ready for this? Because here's why I brought this. Here's why it means something to me. I'm not like a really big car guy at all. And I'm not a huge even Tesla guy either. But I love what the Cybertruck stands for. One of the things that I've tried to do in my life, I have this really good buddy. He's an author, and he used to run this blog called Warrior Poet. And he talked about all the time Renaissance men, right? Like these men that were good at all these different things. They were good at all, like they could write poetry, but they were also these fierce warriors, and they were great husbands and fathers. Like someone who can do a lot of things really, really well. And I'd like to become that. Like I'd like to be someone who has the fastest to do all these things really, really well. What I love about the Cybertruck is it's so unique to me because it's a truck, but it's not really a truck, right? Because it's also like this luxury vehicle, right? So it's got like this interior that's like super nice and luxury, but it's also like super minimalistic and it's simple, but then it's also like this computer and it's like this like advanced thing. And the Cybertruck is all these different things. Like, so you can you can drive like this really bad awesome truck, but it's still a Tesla, so it's gonna go like, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It's gonna have all this tech, but then it's also gonna be like super, super simple in terms of the user interface. It's just so well-rounded that it appeals to a lot of the things that I would like. I want a car that's like super easy to use, and I want a truck that just looks awesome. But I also like luxury, I want those sort of things. And so the Cybertruck is this really interesting thing that I don't think when we try to like define who we are, that it has to fit in like this neat little simple box. Like I am this, and this is what defines me. I think it's okay for what defines you to be like so well-rounded and so robust that no one thing will pin it down. To me, a Cybertruck's not just an electric vehicle, and it's not just a truck, and it's not just a luxury car, and it's not just an off-road vehicle. It's like all these things kind of wrapped into one, and I think it's pretty awesome.
I have heard you talk about the Cybertruck so much, and I've never heard this explanation.
It's pretty cool, right?
Do you want to know the one thing I have heard you talk about the Cybertruck?
Yes.
I have heard you talk about your plan for how to pay for the Cybertruck, which was, I'm going to invest in Tesla, and then Tesla is going to buy me my Cybertruck.
That's the plan I'm doing right now. So I love, but I don't love investing in individual stocks, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different way to invest than I typically invest. But I told myself I want to put together this plan that when I went on the Cybertruck wait list, which by the way was just $100 to get on that. $100 wait list. I said, I'm going to start saving money every single month in order to buy for the Cybertruck. But what I'm going to do, instead of just saving it in cash, I am going to buy Tesla stock every single month, and I'm not going to try to time it. I'm not going to figure out what day to buy and what price to buy. I'm just going to dollar cost average and see if over the long term, from the date that I went on the list until the day that my number is called for the Cybertruck to be ready, if the savings and appreciation will pay for it. And then I'm going to figure out what percentage of the Cybertruck did Elon or did Tesla buy for me. I'll probably do a podcast on it.
At a certain point, at a certain point prior to the last year or so, could you have purchased that Cybertruck before things went awry, aka Elon stepped into Twitter and everybody...
So yes, you are correct. Last year was an amazing year to be dollar cost averaging in that stock because it just kept going down and down and down. And remember, I'm not trying to time it. So every month I just buy.
Fair.
So what I've done is I've loaded my spring. So every month I just got it going. I don't know the Cybertruck's coming out at least for another year, maybe a year and a half. So when that spring pops, if it pops, right? Who knows what the stock is going to do? Could be pretty exciting. So I'm actually happy that Tesla got hammered last year because I was buying cheaper. I have this financial mutant mindset that I'm so young. When the market goes down, even though I don't love it for my clients, I love it as an investor because that's when I'm putting the dollars to work. They're going to be the most powerful. And that's what happened with Tesla last year.
You are the smartest, most stoic, big dumb jock I've ever met.
I'll take the business card.
Thanks for hanging out with me, dude.
It's awesome. Love to do it.
Thanks for being my post-college, post-Fox Fuel best friend.
There's a lot of disclaimers on that, but I'll still take it.
Thanks, my dude.
Yes, sir.
Let's go have a Negroni.
Post start of Foxville. Damn it! I meant post start of Foxville.
Is that what we did?
He just resigned.
We needed 3 cameras to document that.
All right, did we already do the intro? We got to do the intro.
Let's do it again.
Just in case?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we might have it.
All right, let's go settle up.
And action.
Bo,
Yes, sir.
you know what I've been reading a lot lately?
I'd like to know.
Stoicism.
Stoicism. Tell me more. Never heard of it.
Here's the deal. When I think, I just found out about it, and when I think about it, I think I'm the most stoic person I've ever met. Would you agree?
Is that a stoicism joke? If it is, I don't get it.
Here's the downside. That's my worst joke because this is the last 4 seconds of filming. We're gonna have to mute it. And it's gonna have to be some other cut up. It's not a good lead-in.
I thought you would do better.
It's 100% that, or it's this is 8 hours of this. I love you so much. That's gonna be the lead-in. I'll do that, or when he wouldn't quit giving me shit and I was trying to get the line out. That's it. All right. I'm so done.
What a long, long day.
This has been awesome.
This has been a good day.
Did all the things turn into what your vision for them were?
I don't know if I ever had hey, we want to get this X, Y, Z content out of it. I think it's the way that we're doing it.
Oh, so the content is inconsequential to the production of it.
No, I think the decision's made based off of who he calls and reaches out to, right? So knowing that he's gonna have a good rapport with you and you guys sit down, you guys could have 4 different interviews and they'd all be great.
Got it.
It's based off of who's here. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
The decision for success is made before we even come in today.
Got it.
There you go. And
It's the arrow thing.
It's the arrow
The
thing.
interview is when the arrow's in the air.
Everything else is already
Yeah.
put into place. That's really good. That's really
the
good.
stoicism.
Are you a stoic?
Oh yeah.
Do you have?
Midwest German background. We're all Stoics.
What, like-
we don't like emotion.
Do you have to put a? Is it like a membership thing? Like, do you have to apply?
Yeah. I recently became chapter president. You can pay me your dues.
Is it called a Grand Master? Are you the Grand Master?
You
Is
are
that-
using some dangerously close terms that I don't want
We're
to.
wizards.
That's exactly. That's what I was trying to avoid. No, the benefit is here's the way I think I'm going to start posting about it, because I can post a more humorous version. In effect, the series, at least for me, is there are people that I know are smart, funny, creative, and interesting, and I think they like me. That I want to have conversations with those people and then see what falls out of it. That's
Have
the
you
short
ever
of
heard the thing of it's not what you know, it's who you know
Mm-hmm.
type of thing? Well, that's kind of playing on it too, right? So if you're in the room with the right people, you're going to get a lot of information and wisdom out of
Yeah.
those people through their shared life experiences. And I think a lot of people shoot interviews with that, but they try to hold it too tightly and try to format it, and it either becomes boring or not
Yeah, not
informative at
super
all,
helpful.
right? Because like the charisma of a good beneficial conversation is where you really get like, because if you're listening to a boring professor, he might be spouting wisdom, but you're not absorbing it.
Yeah, because it's not engaging in any way.
Right. So some of this is our attempt too to show clients
That you can do that.
this is the way you should do it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a better way to do talking head interviews.
Right.
There's a better way to tell stories from an executive and people that are great in business. They've probably got a really great way to tell stories.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah. Stop being cheap. Just do it.
that's it.
Love it.